Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to a penultimate episode of Connecting with the Conversation in the Quran. And so Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. And inshallah today I'm coming into, we've done conversations of the good people in the Quran, conversations again with the kuffar, with the negative, with the bad people, and how it's about dawah, it's about bringing tawheed into people's life. Most of these, whether it was in Yasin, whether it was a conversation of Yusuf alayhi salam, and many others. So we've had a whole array of conversations from different aspects, and something for us needs to connect, that we are able to something should be resonating for us somewhere for sure. So anyway, that's the background. Today instead, and tomorrow inshallah, as we close off with these conversations, I want to take it into another sphere. And so today I want to be looking at the conversation of the jinn in the Quran, of what Allah has chosen to immortalize in the Quran, of a conversation that He's giving us about not just about the jinn, about what the jinn are doing the talking. So here it starts in Surah Jinn, which is Surah number 72, and it's from 1 to 15. And it says it's a story of the jinn who listened to the Quran and what their reaction was. And obviously this, the purpose of this whole exercise is that it offers relevant lessons for us today. So we will look at that. But what it starts off with says, قُلْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ أَنَّهُ أَنَّهُ اسْتَمَعَ نَفَرٌ مِنَ الْجِنِّ. So a group of jinn are saying, we heard, let me reveal, it has been revealed to me that a companion of jinns who listened, فَقَالُوا إِنَّا سَمِعْنَا قُرْآنًا عَجَبًا, that we heard a Quran that was ajib, that was amazing, that was a wonderful recitation we've heard, and it gives guidance. Now I'm not going to read the Arabic anymore before I make more tajweed mistakes, but it's in ayah 2, it says it gives guidance to the right, and we have believed therein. We shall not enjoin in worship, وَلَن تُشْرِكْ بِرَبِّنَا أَحَدًا. And that's what it is. This is what it's giving guidance to. And we have believed. So this is the jinn directly saying, we heard the Quran and we believe. And so what it goes on to saying, and then it says the exalted, and so إِنَّهُ تَعَالَى جَدُّ رَبَّنَا مَتَّخَذَ صَاحِبَةً وَلَا وَلَدًا. And so look how they are acknowledging. Immediately they're saying that it's our Lord. He doesn't have a sahaba, He doesn't have a companion, a wife, nor does He have a son. So, again, it is saying that when you believe, when you're listening to the Quran, the first thing that you're doing is that we believe, and we will not associate anybody with Allah. So no son, Qul Allahu Ahad epitomizes Tawheed, and that's it, and no even a Sahabi, because in other faiths, while Christianity made Jesus into God, other faiths also had a concept of Him having a Sahaba, Him having a companion. So, and then it says, and then there are foolish ones who say, but they're the foolish ones amongst them who utter extravagant lies. Again, the word that they use, يَقُولُونَ Safihuna is the foolish one, like سَيُقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ. We start in Surah Juz 2. It's the foolish ones, they say this. عَلَى اللَّهِ, what do? They do shatata. And this word has now come again. We did it in previous conversations, how they said that whether the people, the lads of the cave said that we would be uttering an enormity against Allah if we would be doing a shatata, and I think it came once before also in before that. And so anyway, so then but we do not think that man or spirit should say anything that, like, they are kind of surprised at whatever we knew about Allah. We didn't think that the jinn or the ins would be telling lies. So whatever they knew, or if they grew up in the tradition of knowing that Allah had a son or this or that, it's that, no, they immediately heard this with humility, with sincerity, with an open heart, and they responded, so we should also be doing. I mean, if the jinn can do it, what about us? We're listening to Taraweehs non-stop. We're just listening to the Arabic. How much shouldn't we listen to it attentively? Shouldn't we be reflecting on it? So that's it. And so that's the Shatatai said. And then they said that, in 6, it talks about, it continues this ayah that there were people among mankind who took shelter with persons among the jinn, but they only increased them in folly. So we had that in Surah Baqarah, how when it was in the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam and the angels, and how with the magic and the jinn would want to derail people and something. But just because the jinn are unseen, we seem to presume that they have more power or they can get up to the skies into places. But Allah has clearly told us that we are the ashraful makhluk. We are the ones who are better than the jinn. The jinn also have free will. But so like they said that there were persons among mankind, and there's a whole lot of tafsir about it, that they did this. So this is still a quote of what they are saying, the jinn are saying. And because we pried into the heavens and we could get something, and we used to sit by there to try and get a hearing. This is in 9, 10, 11, and that we understand not whether ill is intended or whether Allah really will guide them. So this is up to 15 is a conversation. I love 11, that there are some of us. There are some وَأَنَا مِنَّا صَالِحُونَ وَمِنْهَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ كُنَّا طَرَائِقَ قِدَادًا. And so we follow diverse ways. So in other words, in 11, they're basically saying two things. They're the good guys, they're good jinn and they're bad jinn. I love the way they say it. They say, among us, some of us are good, salihuna, and some of us are min duna dhalik, and some of us are otherwise. So I love that. It's so like, when you're saying, yeah, we're the good guys, but they're the bad guys. And some are otherwise. Just leave it at that. You don't have to highlight to what extent doing. And I just love that as a take home, when, we did our homework, and then just leave it. Yeah, maybe some people didn't. But, even for children, and those naughty children, they didn't do that, and they didn't do that. You don't have to list what others didn't do or what they did and you didn't do. We were the good guys, we came away, but then they did this, and don't get into it. I mean, I just love from that brief conversation of how Allah, and it does come in the tafsir, that they said, specify this is what we do, but the others do differently, and leave it at that. So that was one of the things. And then how it says that how there's just so many things to say. I'm not sure where to start, where it is. That how when you recognize that there are other entities who, all the other makhluk is like by default, Allah has the clouds and the are you going to come together willingly, unwillingly? And they said willingly. But animals, they all have the fitra to know what's good, and everybody recognizes Allah. It's we given free will, the jinn given free will, so we are the ones who have the choice of whether we believe or we don't believe. So that's what it is. But if jinn can listen to the Quran, believe, and their beliefs change, they denounce shirk, they're able to change their ways. So when we come across clear guidance and we recognize the mistakes, we should be willing to reform ourselves just as quickly. Not tomorrow, I'm going to give up drinking, I know, I realize it does, but it's a habit I have, drinking, smoking, any bad habit. But it's like we're saying, we can't do it overnight. And people say, yes, you have to be weaned of things. And it's true that some things in us, where there was salah, where there was other things, you gradually get to the better place. But there are also people who instantly overnight turn. Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, one day he's ready to really get at Rasulullah, and then the flick. So the jinn's example illustrates that acting promptly on recognizing the truth instead of delaying it. And we have the capacity to, we know, if I suddenly been declared, you've got TV, BP, GP, whatever else, all the others, and now suddenly I will instantly take action and say, I'm not going to eat this. So something, whether it's a sodas, whether it's a fizzy drinks, or the sugar, or this or that, whatever. No, but I grew up on my spicy food. I cannot give that up. No, the beauty is if you know your life is at stake, you will flip around, and just like that. So here what is being showcased as in the conversation, how you can instantly change. You can. This Ramadan we'll say, okay, we take New Year resolutions, we do this, so next year time I do. But we've had 30, 29 days, 28 days, 29, 30 days of being on track, of being able to fast. So being able to fast the next 6 days of Shawwal shouldn't be difficult. Being able to fast the next Mondays and Thursdays shouldn't be difficult. We've got it. We've had a practice, and if we continue the days of Shawwal and then do a few more they say any habit that if you do it for 40 days, it becomes entrenched in you. So especially I do know it for the Salah, that if you start saying Salah, and for women even if they have to take a break, but within the 40 days, if you keep solidly on it, that habit becomes firm. So take heed. If the Jinn can do it, and we are better than them in Ashraful Makhluq, in our status of how Allah has given it. So let us do it. So if you are told, and in children, but you're a good child, you can do that. It does give you the impetus to do better for the child and for so on. So we too should. For me, this conversation is, I loved it, of what you, of the best thing is, so some of us are good and some of us are otherwise. That was my main take home for myself, to learn of how to be in conversation. Don't go into long details about what they did, what they didn't do, and this or that. And no, I'm just saying it so that we learn not to do it. No, just don't say it. Just don't say it. Just stick to the good and better. And it's never too late. Even if we're at this age and look, I'm struggling, and now because of this illness, I'm not even able to fast, I'm giving fidya. No, but at any level and at any place we can change, and we can make that effort. And ultimately, as we know, it's always in Allah's hand to give the results, but we can do it, and recognizing, so the Jinn, all that they were expressing in this conversation, commitment to good conduct, to justice, and to worshipping and moving away from oppression, and they admitted their limitations and acknowledged that only, that what they did wrong. And so back again to the idea of humility, that Allah knows it all. And so here where we rely heavily on hearsay, on all this news, on what's happening, I mean, at one level, we can see what's been happening in Gaza. Just look at the destruction, and yet the other, the mainstream media of the West is still able to say, no, but it's Hamas, it's Hamas, it's Hamas. Can you see who has done the destruction? So the lesson for us is to remember to watch out for goodness, to watch out for justice, integrity, consistent worship, and be in humility, and not go back, and not, just sort of, okay, one day, someday we'll do it. So it's just to encourage our hearts to be open. It's encouraging us, me in first instance, first place. Yes, you can say all these beautiful things, but how am I acting it out myself? So that's what I need to take care of. So all those things are what comes out from here. There are other mentions of the Jinn elsewhere also, but primarily this is the conversation of them directly listening to the Quran, and if look in the background of the hadith of, maybe it was Rasulullah somewhere saying, and Allah gave him this wahi, that they were listening to you when you were reading the Quran. So how with this month, let's pray that some sincerity, ikhlas, ihsan is embedded in us, and it's been a long enough time for us in this month of Ramadan, this beautiful time, and despite tribulations, individual or public or otherwise, but your baseline, your taqwa, your heart needs to always have that connection with Allah. And I've just been hoping that through these conversations, because it's direct conversation, it's not just Allah telling us things and you say, well, yeah, that's just Allah saying it, but He doesn't really know my reality. No, astaghfirullah, na'uzu billah. Of course, Allah is closer than my jugular vein. If He doesn't know what's going on. And so in these conversations, it's like grade 1, grade 2, you hear papers, exams, past papers. These are past conversations, and they're so relevant and valid to us for today. So see what you can take from these conversations and just make it be a boost for our own taqwa, our own iman, our own betterment, and all of those things. So I pray that's been of benefit to us, and inshallah, may our Ramadan conclude in the most beautiful way. And with one more to go, the conversation, I pray that whatever's been said and heard has been beneficial. So Subhana Rabbika Rabbil Izzati Amma Yasifun, wa Salamun Alal Mursaleen, walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.